Hey, y'all. This is Dr. Traci Harrell. Don't you love a live show? I know I do. It always gets me excited when I try to go outside. Today, I wanted to do a springtime show from the backyard, and it seemed great. And it didn't quite work out as I had hoped, but we're here now, so we're going to get started. So we have about 9 minutes before our first break. So we're just going to talk specifically about, hey, we're going to talk specifically about springtime. So what happens when you go from the winter to the spring, right? What happens? This show is called Living Powerfully. It's the Living Powerfully experience, and it's about us getting better together. So there's no better time, right? When it starts to thaw, right? Weather's getting warmer. I know here in Seattle, flowers are blooming. Like I said, I was outside. It was so gorgeous. It felt like a perfect opportunity to show up in community outside, sun shining on my face, beautiful tulips blooming, just gorgeous. And like I said, the beautiful thing about life and living powerfully is that no matter what shenanigans happens, we just show up and try to keep it moving, right? We just try to keep it moving, meaning show up with joy, right? We talked about this with the Living Powerfully experience, right? We've said that every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity. So when you pause and you think about the winter, right? It's cold. Oftentimes, we're bundled up. We're a little less social, maybe. A little less social, going out into the streets and connecting with people. We might even be a little less joyful, right? A little less joyful. I mean, the holidays are wonderful. Christmas and New Year's, and then there's that whole, can you believe it's already April? So if during the holidays you were celebrating with family, and during New Year's you were like, okay, we about to do this whole thing new, it's that February, time frame. February and March when the implications of what really your year is going to look like start to take hold. And it's in that time when oftentimes our beautiful New Year's resolutions or those declarations that we make, early in the year, that they may or may, start to thaw as well, right? They may not become, a reality, partially because, of the distractions of life, right? So if you think about moving from winter to spring, winter can appear, like, the trees are not blooming, they're not as green, there are no leaves, but that's a time when all of this energy can be building up, right? All of the particulates of a plant and a flower during the springtime, during the winter time, they're building up to what's going to happen in the springtime. So it ain't too late. If you had a declaration, I just want you to know it's okay. We all get to pause. Right? I've had some things happening in my life. If I gave you a long list, you'd be like, girl. So we get to say it's okay. Whatever has happened, spring in the winter, spring is here. So we get to come out of our shells. We get to bloom. So, if you think about it, no one can fertilize your dreams more than you. I'm going to say that one more time. No one can fertilize your dreams more than you. So if you had some plans for 2025, keep them alive. Like my theme for 2024 was less is more in 2024. Time to thrive in 2025. So it really is time for us to thrive. It's time for me to go deeper, and I have people in my life who are helping me to do the same. But there's so many areas where I've been able to support people, and I realized even some of the things that I thought were going to work out a certain way did not work out as I had hoped. And so now I got to go backwards and clean some things up, right? Like I got to go backwards and be like, okay, here's what I thought here's what I thought was going to happen, for example, with this group or with this thing. And then I got to go backwards and clean it up. And so I've actually done some work, even in the work that I do as it relates to as a transformational coach, right? I supported a couple of groups where it was very interesting for me. Like some people had never even downloaded an app before on their computer, and other people are like, "Oh, I got this. This is good." I center myself on a regular basis, and so having that extreme and having so much content that I wanted to give to them, and feeling like and being told that it was too much for me was just like a OMG. So I got to pause and kind of roll back and say, "Okay, here's what I need to do. Here's what I should have done. Here's what I'm going to do differently moving forward." And that to me is what spring is about. Spring is about springing forward. Springing forward. Let me just say that again. No matter what has happened in the past, spring is about moving forward. It's about blooming. It's about deciding whatever changes need to happen, self-correct, right? If you're driving down the street and you come across a bump, you self-correct and you keep yourself on track. And so that's what this conversation today really needs to be about, is how do we show up? How do we truly show up and self-correct in the moment, right? How do we show up and ensure that whatever the goals are that we want materialize? Stay with me here. This is going to get good. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. We first have to have a very clear vision about what you want to create. And when that thing that shows up for you doesn't look like what you said you wanted to create, pausing, deciding, okay, here's where we are. It's like a driving to any destination. You took a wrong turn. Okay. It's not the end of the world, right? You get to decide, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to get back on track. Here's how I'm going to get those people that are in the car with me back on track. Here's what I'm going to do to take my life in the direction that I know I want for it to end in 2025. So it's really keeping that vision, keeping that destination alive, so that as these little turns happen, as these little detours show up, right, we get to be very, very intentional about how we self-correct. So in 2 minutes, what I'm going to do is we're going to go on a quick break, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to provide you some additional very specific steps that we can take to make sure that, again, we're living powerfully. And again, I'm here. We can do it together. We're going to show up and we're going to keep it moving. So remember, visualizing, keeping that dream, that visual, that vision alive. So just reminding yourself, what did you say you wanted? So if it was about weight loss and you're like, girl, I haven't been to the gym, I'm not eating healthy, what's one thing you can do? What is one thing? So think about it over the break. What's one thing you can do to move you one step forward each day toward that goal? Just one thing. It only takes one thing per day. I know it sounds like, oh, that's it. That's it. If you do one thing per day toward the goal that you want, the goal that you desire to materialize, to manifest that thing, right? And not allow yourself to be like, well, I didn't do it yesterday, so I don't. No, you didn't do it yesterday. That's one day in the past. We can't change the past, but the present right now, that's the gift. So you get to gift yourself and others around you, right, with the next step, next thing that is going to move you toward the destination that you hope for. I know a few women who have, talked about the house that they wanted to buy, and they're on house number 3, right? Last year, people were talking about, oh, I need to buy a house for my mother and my son, and I want to do A, B, and C. All those things are materializing because this woman was being very intentional. So for me, again, I've been focused on fitness and wellness, and I'm seeing, I don't know if you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but, I'm moving in the right direction too. I really am. Physically, I'm moving in the right direction, which is exciting. Also financially, like I spent so much time and so much energy donating time to nonprofits, and it's been a important part of who I was. It's an important part of who I am, but I'm also focused on my business in 2025. Again, time to thrive in 2025. I did a whole lot of work, right? Where I donated my time, and I wanted to show up in community, and felt like community meant free. That's what my coach says. Traci, somehow you think working for community means working for free. That's not necessarily the case. So again, for each of you, we're going to take a quick break, and then we want you to think about one thing that you can do to achieve the goals, the visions, the dreams, the desires that you have planned for 2025. Remember, time to thrive in 2025. Stay with us, guys. We're going to be right back right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Thank you.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue.world.
Sediment cleanup of the lower Duwamish River has begun. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the members of the Lower Duwamish Waterway Group, which includes King County, the City of Seattle, and Boeing, have begun sediment cleanup of the Lower Duwamish Waterfall Superfund site. This important environmental project will address sediment pollution and help restore the health of the Duwamish River. Starting in the waterway's upper reach, construction activities extend from the south 102nd Street Bridge down straight to the Duwamish Waterway Park. Over the next 3 years, in-water activities will occur from October to February, ending in February 2027. Visit ldwg.org to learn about the upper reach cleanup and sign up for email updates.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo.
And your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
Here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio.
every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
Do you want to reach out to the Vietnamese community in Seattle? Just advertise in Người Việt Tây Bắc, that is Northwest Vietnamese News, the longest running Vietnamese language newspaper in our region. Go to nvnorthwest.com.
Greetings. This is your host, DJ Neftali, Rainier Avenue Radio .world, the best DJ in the Seattle area. You can catch me every Monday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Like I said, this is DJ Neftali, the best reggae in Seattle, Washington, the best radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Come on, right?
Hey, Seattle, here's some storage tips to love food, stop waste. Onions make potatoes sprout faster. Keep onions away from potatoes. Ripe bananas give off a gas that makes the fruit around them ripen faster. Store bananas away from other fruits. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
Rainier Avenue. Seattle's best music, talk, and sports.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny. So I'm back. I can't hear anything. This is so interesting. I can't hear anything on the at all. I can't hear music playing or anything from the radio. So hopefully my producer can hear me okay. And we're just gonna keep it moving, assuming you guys can hear me. Yay. Okay. So Let's talk a little bit about the month of April. Again, I was talking about how beautiful it is outside, right? Did you know that April is Stress Awareness Month? And so when you think about, Stress Awareness Month. So when you think about thriving, if I said 2025 is our year to thrive, Stress Awareness Month means we got to just really think about the causes and the cures for modern stress. So we want to really, in this conversation, encourage a conversation around mental well-being, as well as really practical things you can do to manage your stress. Now, I talk about this all the time, but I don't think I'm using the word stress because I'm like too blessed to be stressed. That's how I show up, right? We're too blessed to be stressed. If every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity, then we don't really allow ourselves to be stressed. I be having some things going on. Y'all might be like, really? Is all of that happening? It is. And at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? God's got my back. I really am too blessed to be stressed. But that mentality, without, some coaching may not be natural for a lot of people. Like, I don't really get stressed. I try to work out solutions. I try to do the things the best I can do, but I can't get too stressed about it because I'm like, I always say my divine creator has a plan, right? And every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity. So, when I talk about this transformational journey that I call the Living Powerfully experience, what I've done, and I've kind of had to revamp how I present it in community, because a lot of times I'm like, you got to do these steps, right? You got to do these things first. But really, sometimes people just want information. So consider this an opportunity for me to activate that inner power within, giving you some information to shift from stress to strength, to shift from stress to blessed. Stressed ED to blessed, right? So we're gonna ground you in some mastery around some of the things we've been talking about, right? We've been talking about these science-based framework that identifies your inner saboteurs, and it strengthens your sage brain. The strengthening of your sage brain is really about doing, and people are like, it's not obvious. It's almost like lifting of some dumbbells. It's not obvious, right? The final look is as you're doing it. You're like, I'm not sure if this is working, but you will feel less stressed because you will have a different mindset, right? You'll have these challenges and these setbacks will take place, and you'll be like, oh, I get to behave differently. Like, I get to show up differently, right? And that to me is a beautiful thing. Deciding that you get to show up differently is wonderful. So if this month is April, if this is Stress Awareness Month, let me be clear. Okay. 77% of us experience physical symptoms from stress. People talk about dis-ease or disease. Dis-ease, it comes like where things, we were just doing something with Debrina Jackson Gandy. She does these forgiveness exercises as a part of some of the training that she does. Love Lies. I was participating in a Love Lies detox program with her. And she, focuses on like, how do you get those negative, low vibration, she doesn't use the word negative, but she talks about low vibration emotions out of you and transmute them into something positive. So we just got to recognize that when things happen, we're so used to stuffing them that's just the practice that we go, that we just automatically default to. It doesn't mean there isn't an impact to that. So 77% of us experience physical symptoms from stress. Physical, whether it's an upset stomach, a headache, whatever, your symptom, yours, tightening of the shoulders, right? Right, all kind of things can happen. Dis-ease, right, shows up differently when things happen. You're stressed and you're worried, and right. So there can be physical symptoms, but there can also be psychological symptoms. So if you think about ulcers, right, chronic stress contributes to heart disease, anxiety, people feeling burnt out. So you want to be able to block the stress. You want to be able to understand, oh, I actually don't have to live that way. That's how I may have used to live. That may be how people, talk about and think about. This is what normal people, do. This is how we show up. But truly, stress awareness is about, being aware when those saboteurs show up, right? That's the stress. That's the stress. And people can be like, it's, it's not as easy, right, to see them. But once you see them, you get to see them and say, you give them the hand and you basically stop it. You really can stop it. You can, right? This whole concept of positive intelligence and this idea of living powerfully, there's 7 levels of living powerfully. Positive intelligence is just level 1. Right. And I'm trying to formalize how the best way to get people to feel like they are in a position to live powerfully. And again, I love the foundation of positive intelligence. It's very basic. And sometimes people just need the information. So again, that's part of what I do in this show. So positive intelligence is about increasing your own self-command, the power of self-command, right? You're building new neural pathways. We talk about mental fitness. That's what this is all about. Right, you get to shift, from this survival brain to more of a thriving mode, right? So it's from the saboteur brain to the sage mode, the sage, right? We talk about those sage superpowers, the empathy, right? We talked about you know what they are. So it's really about fostering your calm and fostering your clarity, your compassion, and your creativity. So we can talk about this in a number of different ways, practical and just, the things that we've been talking about before. But this idea of those PQ reps, when you can just pause. It's not just pausing and breathing, but that's part of it, right? Some type of focused sensation. It could be you touching your fingers, squeezing your hands, holding your phone, toes on the ground, feeling your butt in your chair, but naming the saboteur, right? Awareness is the first step to control. So when you see the controller, I know I'm a bit of a controller, a pleaser, got that too, avoider, I got that too, right? So when you see these saboteurs and you learn about them, the awareness is the first step to really self-control. So seeing them and being able to say, here, I know exactly what to do when they show up, right? There's also this concept. So I'll just say that pausing when you're feeling stressed, using the PQ reps. That was number 1. Naming your saboteurs. Oh, I see you. Meaning you can do this saboteur assessment, this free saboteur assessment. I've talked about that before. It's at positiveintelligence.com. So being in a position to say, hey, I choose not to go that route. So this concept of saying, oh, I see, Stress Awareness Month, right? Being aware of what the things that you can do to change the outcome is huge. So again, the PQ reps, there's a whole series of them. Naming those saboteurs, seeing them, and we went beyond naming them. We said, this is how you name them. We gave you specific sage steps. Each saboteur being in gratitude and having this gratitude practice. So if you think about it, writing down 3 things that you're grateful for in any situation, right? So we talk about, we call it the sage perspective, right? So if you think about awareness, stress awareness, that means you're thinking about something that could happen, you're thinking about the past, you're thinking about the future, but you're not necessarily present. So the PQ rep is about bringing you to this moment, to the present, and then taking the sage perspective, which says whatever's happening, right? Do you like my hands? Whatever's happening, right? This situation, every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity. So if you believe that, then you can identify the gift. What are some of those things that I can be grateful for in this moment with whatever's happening? We also talk about using those sage superpowers, the empathy, right? Being more like pausing, right? So not only being empathetic, but then you also, want to show up in a way that allows you to, ask questions without judgment, right? So that's a beautiful thing too. Asking questions without judgment means something is happening and you may not have all the answers. Ask a few questions. Make no assumptions, right, about other people. Make no assumptions that you got the whole picture. Ask questions. So that's another way where you get to, again, lean in to get more information, right? These are some of those sage superpowers we've talked about in the past. right? We've talked about you navigating and thinking about, how do I want this to end? You're in the middle of something. You're thinking about some other elements to it. But how do you want it to end? How do you want to show up? So then you pause, you breathe, right? You kind of do a little bit of your own work, right? Looking forward. And I say forward, that means navigating, talking to your wiser self, right? Whether it's a week down the future, 30 days down into the future, the end of your life. Is this going to matter? Whatever the thing is that's causing you so much stress, really? You have to ask that question. Is it really that important? Right. So you really want to ask yourself, is this relationship more important than this thing being right or wrong, potentially? Right. So you want to pause and you want to ask questions, right? That's the, you allowing yourself to, investigate, right? Invest in asking questions. Then this idea of, again, gratitude, writing down things that you can be grateful for. If every situation can be turned into a gift and an opportunity, writing down what you can be grateful for. Other thing you could do from a stress awareness perspective is just kind of scan your body. Right? We talked about breathing with the PQ reps. That's just kind of like pausing and breathing and being focused. But then you kind of want to scan your body, like what's happening right now in this moment. So taking that initial pause, the 10 seconds of focused breathing or the 10 seconds of sensation, taking it to the next level, and then scanning your body and being more aware and like looking for stress in your shoulders or maybe a tightness in your abs or shortness of your breath. So like scanning your body as you're breathing, right? Going out into nature and taking a walk, engaging all of your senses. Like springtime, you're not going to have a problem seeing blooming flowers wherever you go. I'm in Seattle right now, and there are blooming flowers in every yard. Like people are intentional, right? A lot of them are very intentional. And so even if you're not a gardener, which of course I am, it's one of my special skills. Other people are gardening, right? You don't have to go to a park. I mean, you can just walk down the street, drive in the neighborhoods, and then park, pull over and be like, okay, I'm just going to walk a little bit, right? If it's not in your backyard, fine. Go find a yard. Go find a neighborhood, right, where you can just walk through, right? If there's a neighborhood park, that's great. But the flowers, there's something about flowers for me. And even just trees blowing in the wind, right? There's something really beautiful about that. And we have so many beautiful spaces to walk in here. As well. So just taking a walk in nature, but engaging all of your senses. So engaging your breathing, feeling the temperature, the wind, your eyesight, listening for the birds, listening to the rustle of the trees in the background. So you want to engage all of your senses. Obviously take water with you so you're hydrating and you're drinking along the way. So you want to really, really engage all 5 senses. And this is something else you can do as it relates to stress awareness. Just say no. Say no with love. Like, right? Like, I think we oftentimes say yes, especially women. If you're a pleaser, male or female, right? This might be something that we do a little bit more than we should. Is, this idea of yes, and no, it can be said with love too. So I think learning to say no is another way where you get to set boundaries, where you get to set clear expectations with the people around you. Even if you used to be the yes person, people could come to you, but you haven't taken any time for yourself. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? I've planned out my day, my week, my month, my quarter, my year. I don't have time for this thing or that thing. You don't have to keep doing all the things you used to do. You don't have to let other people's fire drills be your fire drills. It's okay to say no and create a space for other people to, amplify their own capabilities, right? Sometimes, we can serve ourselves by saying yes to solving someone else's problems, but we ain't got the energy to solve our own. I'm telling the truth. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself too. We all do it. Come on. So the other thing you can do in Stress Awareness Month is really think about going on a digital detox, right? Like, I almost didn't like there's some things that are happening. I'll just put it that way, where people have invited me to be a part of various things, and I can't do all the things. I can't. So I'm not taking a full digital detox. Obviously, I wouldn't be here talking to each of you. I feel like this is part of my contribution to the universe a little bit. It doesn't harm me. It allows me to, show up in excellence. It allows me to feel like, okay, if people are getting it, and I know people have reached out to me that I didn't even know, and we're like, girl, that was so good. Thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. And that's a beautiful thing. I feel like God has blessed me with some gifts, and I want to put them into the universe. So that's my gift. But you can't, some people spend a lot of time on social media with their phones. I don't. If you posted something to me or says, I don't. I intentionally don't. I can barely even keep track of my emails. Talk about a detox. So you call me or text me if you really want me to make sure I see something, but I can't get through everything. I don't even try. I don't stress myself about it. Think about stress awareness. It's like it's only stress if you let it stress you. You can have a whole lot of emails. You're going to have a whole lot of digital people that, are reaching out to you, tagging you on stuff. You don't have to respond to all of that, right? You don't have to, you decide how much time and energy you want to spend on any one thing. And then you keep to your own expectations. Okay. Also, I know many of you, we've talked about this concept of journaling, right? Writing things down. You can do digital journals nowadays too. Like it's so easy to do some of these sites where you get to take notes and write down information, which is so beautiful. I love typing. I type even more than I write. And then video, like being able to take videos and speak. I can talk all day. As you can see, I have no problem with that. But being in a position where we can, I was trying to upload something to this system and it's not letting me. So it's okay. We'll keep moving. That's what happens. We just keep it moving. We keep it moving. That's all we can do. Let's see what happens. Okay. Anyway, so what I am going to do is ask each of you to do this as it relates to Stress Awareness Month in April. We're going to talk more about stress awareness. I have a whole beautiful presentation to share, and this is not it. So worry not. This is not it. So I will remove this. There you go. So I do have a beautiful presentation to share the next time we get on together. It looks like I have a couple of announcements that I'm supposed to be sharing with you all today. So apparently Earth Day, Earth deserves more than a day. Earth deserves more than a day returns to Rainier Avenue Radio next week from Monday to Friday, featuring environmental justice themed broadcasts daily from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Yay, I guess that means I still get to join you all on Monday. Earth deserves more than a day. Do you know how much I love that? Earth really does deserve more than a day. I am so excited about that. Now, this is going to preempt the whole Monday night lineup, including Better Together. Tell me more. Okay, so I think it says 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it says check Rainier Avenue Radio World for a full schedule of events. So there's a whole schedule of awesome events that are going to be happening. Earth Day deserves more than a day. Oh my God, there's so many things. Wow. On Monday, April 21st, Tony B and LaVera Brown are going to be doing a welcome. There's going to be talking about what is environmental justice. The American Lung Association is going to present. Wow, there's all kinds of students that are presenting. Climate justice, ties with the systems of oppression. Woo! That's just one day. That's Monday. Then Tuesday, there's a whole nother series of events. Wednesday, there's a whole nother series of events from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh my God. This tells you I did not see this until today. That's so exciting. Earth Day really does deserve more than a day. Thank you for sharing. I have the best producer ever. I wish he would show his face sometimes, but we love Daniel, and that's all I'm going to say. He's a little shy, but we love him. So, guys, we have a couple of more things I wanted to say. I don't think I have any more announcements. I think we're good. I guess not. You got me set up. Okay, so again, remember, I'm going to do a quick, super fast recap. April is Stress Awareness Month. So what I'm asking each of you to do is just be aware how stress really does show up in our lives, and then be aware of all these wonderful tools that we've been talking about over all the months that I've shown up here. They're all about reducing your stress. They're all about helping you to show up in excellence, right? That's what everything I do every week is about, reducing stress and creating joy and allowing you to live powerfully. And I'm working it myself. Like, I got issues too. So we showing up, doing the best we can, like all of us. But there's some things that we absolutely know what to do and how to do. We absolutely know how to show up and how to use that physical and physical and psychological, those things, symptoms, I guess, that show up. And I guess the truth is sometimes we don't even recognize that something is happening stressful, because that's just how we're used to doing and used to being. Does that make sense? So when you start to look at your saboteurs, the reason the saboteur assessment is so valuable, and it's positiveintelligence.com, and then you go to the saboteur assessment. And you can also reach out to me, as well, Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. But, when you see your own saboteurs, that is when you're like, oh, those are those habits. Those are the things that have been showing up where I have not been able to live my best. I have not been able to show up in my greatest, with my greatest performance, my greatest relationships, because I'm damaging relationships, but I'm also damaging my well-being. And when we talk about well-being, it's the stress, it's the things that, like, these saboteurs say to us in our own heads, right, that restrict our ability to live our best lives. So the ask is for you to continue to do the work, to know that your dreams are possible, and all you have to do is be intentional. So we'll see you again right here next week on Living Powerfully and Better Together. And we're going to talk a little bit more about April being Stress Awareness Month. We're going to go very intentionally on some of the specific things that you can do depending on what your saboteurs are. We're going to go back through that again, right? But depending on what your saboteurs are, if you feel like you're dealing with control issues, right? Or I'm just such a pleaser, right? Or I'm an avoider, right? Or whatever it might be, right? I'm a stickler, meaning I'm a perfectionist, and that kind of causes me unnecessary stress. Then we get to show up differently. We get to decide, what does it look like differently? How do we get to show up differently? And I get to choose differently. It's like, choose you. You choose. Choose you, right? I'm pointing at me because I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to you too. Choose you, right? Like, you get to choose differently. So if showing up in excellence means I get to see myself truly, and I'm willing to tell the truth, right? We all have to be willing to see ourselves fully, to see the challenges, and then to be able to lean into the opportunity. So if stress awareness is like, oh, I didn't even know I was doing that to myself, what about the stress that you're causing other people? That's the thing that I think the concept of our saboteurs, you might not even know the stress that you're causing your children or your spouse, right? Just being you. They love you anyway, but it's like, what can I do to minimize those things that might impact others that love me, right? And it seems easy. I know it sounds easy, but the truth is oftentimes we don't want to face our own demons, not real demons, but I'm trying to say our own saboteurs. So being in a position to think differently, to choose differently, is how we get to show up differently. That's me dropping the mic. That's me literally dropping the mic. Okay, so it looks like my wonderful producer was just reminding me that our next show is Pep and O. Lid Line Sports with Pep and O. It's the fastest hour in sports. I actually love watching them because, did you guys know I'm a Gator? And the University of Florida, actually, you know, we're national champions. When I was there, we were national champions in football and basketball. Just saying. It had nothing to do with it, but I was there during the Tim Tebow days. So stay tuned for Lidline Sports with Pep and O. And I invite each of you to come back and watch Living Powerfully and Better Together with me right here next week, as we're going to continue to talk about Stress Awareness Month and what you can do to not only reduce the stress in your life, but to reduce, in 2 weeks. Apparently he's saying in 2 weeks. Thanks. So I guess I won't see you. And